So let's kick around some mech design here, focusing on light mechs. One of the great things about Battletech, you can design your own mechs. You can create your own mechs. You can even take some of the existing mechs, and certainly there are variants to play and explore, but also change those variants of the variants. And being a longtime Battletech enthusiast, one of the most interesting developments for me, 3D printed mechs, print and play mechs, the ability to take mechs from other existing lines or literally have a mech created for you based on your own designs. That's something that has never happened before in Battletech. You have to play with proxies or counters. So jumping in on that, and of course we're going to start with light mechs. We're going to look at medium mechs, heavies, assaults, tanks. Let's design a light mech. Or what would I be looking for in a light mech? And this is also going to serve as a greater tactica, even if you don't want to get into mech design, to understand the different roles and understand just what is possible. Because the limiting factor in Battletech, it's not battle value. You can jack up a mech with experimental tech and all this type of stuff and pay tons and tons of C-bills. You're limited by tonnage. A light mech falls within that bracket. Same with a medium, heavy, and assault. Of course, naturally for the tonnage, we want a balance because there are limitations in each tonnage, and you don't just want to throw battle value into it and have it trashed. So with a light mech, what am I personally looking for? What would kind of be fun to play? The types of classes for light mechs at a lower battle value. Scout, the ability to move really, really fast. That's the primary consideration. Jacked out speed and or jacked out jump. A medium laser just to offer some token resistance, but essentially the speed keeps you alive. And I'm looking to act as a spotter. I'm looking to act as recon. I'm looking to take advantage of situations to exploit, reveal hidden mechs, hidden objectives, always on the move. A scout mech, right? Absolutely, a scout mech. Second to that, categories, and these are just kind of my categories. Certain they're not in the game, and we want to explore all categories. Skirmish mechs, low battle value. This idea that you've got your lance lined up, you've got your toys, you're ready to go. Ideally, I have an idea of what's going on. One of the things that we explored on a side note, pushed up to the Wargaming Tactics playlist, is literally the idea of the list. When you're pulling out your mechs and getting them ready to play, assuming it's not a hidden mission, I'm asking myself, well, what's the plan, right? Fritz starts pulling out locusts. You're like, all right, 2, 3, 5, 6. And then he starts pulling out longbows and archers. You get an idea of what I'm trying to do on the table. So this idea, independent of the war game, the list. So with Battletech, when you're pulling your machines out, I'm trying to figure out what's going on, but I don't really necessarily know. Skirmishers can reveal that. This idea that if I send a light mech up, and usually you see this with an LRM-5, very, very long-range mechs, where they'll fire off some shots. And it's not really about causing damage. It's about first contact and seeing, does my opponent continue onto the objective or where they're moving? Do they siphon off some units and try and drive that skirmisher away? Can that skirmisher take advantage of combined arms and if it hits some motive hits or fire on some support stuff to try and get an idea? You start rolling dice to hit. Even if you need 10 pluses, you get an idea of what's going on. So a skirmish type mech, different than a support mech. Support mech's trying to actually do damage. Skirmisher, I'll take the damage, but that's not the primary focus. That's why it's fast and lower battle value. Then we have kind of backstabber type light mechs. This idea, can I get something fast that's going to work up your flank or as a lance, get rear armor and zap you with lots of stuff? Perfect example, the Jenner. And then you might have a mix of all three. Then you have a few specialized mechs, just to kind of finish it out. A few specialized mechs where Irby, it's got personality, or you see something like the Panther. Hey, let's mount a PPC on a mech, focusing on that perspective, where you're doing something a little bit different or novel. Hey, a Valkyrie, let's mount a 10-pack Usually you see 5s. Let's mount a 10-pack with some decent ammo, decent speed, and jump, and send the Valkyrie in. So let's design a light mech. What would I design for a light mech? Well, I don't need bug mechs. I don't need locusts. Got enough of those. I think I would design, it's got to be fast. Speed versus armor in the light category. There are some light mechs that are armored, but again, we're limited by tonnage. We're limited by tonnage more than anything else. I feel like I'm never going to have enough armor. I'm going to do my best not to get hit. Medium mechs, you're doing your best not to get hit, and the armor's almost kind of like, okay, we're going to give you a chance because you did something wrong, you got hit. But light mechs, I don't even want to get hit. So to put points in armor, I don't think I'm going to necessarily do that. I would want armor that could take a 5-shot or an 8-shot. PPC is going to go to internals. Just got to accept it. But something where if I get zapped by a medium laser or hit by a spread of LRMs, 5 or 10-pack, couple of distributions, or an AC, I could take a hit or two. Might go to internals. We'll see what happens. But I'm not just going to fall apart. So I'd rather focus on speed. Jack that speed up, right? Some sort of massive engine. Just go to the mech heads and be like, I need massive, massive, massive speed. Second to that, I would go in 2 directions. I feel like the first would be a great harasser type mech. And I don't have the stats or anything to crunch the numbers here. But I'm just thinking like something like a Blackjack light with a lot more autocannons. Essentially just like a fast light mech with multiple AC2s. Can I get quad AC2s on there? Just something to blast away, to skirmish with, or light support, or even a light hunter just to start zapping it. Something where turn 1, standard hex maps, I can be in position, hopefully in cover, partial obscurement, and just DACA you with autocannon 2s. Could I get 4 in there? Could I get 6? I don't think I have quite the tonnage for that. But focusing on that, or I'd like to mount something that could zap you, a one-shot wonder. Now, the first thing, of course, is to go for a PPC, but I want massive, massive speed, right? That's called the Panther. It's a great mech. It's okay speed, but I want more speed. Do I have to downgrade that? Could I get that with a PPC? I don't need any other weapons in that regard. I mean, that's, to mount one weapon on a mech. You're putting all your battle value in that one weapon delivery system. But a PPC, I'm going to want to try and stay at medium range. So what would I take? What else to fit in there? Again, focusing on speed. I could see possibly downgrading to a large laser, one shot. Although, I really don't like the one shot. I mean, tactically, it's not good. Doesn't have redundancy. It's only one shot. For the lulls, possibly. But I think I would try to mount something pretty spectacular, a walking gun from that perspective. Right? It's kind of the Goliath, but much slower. And we've got to definitely get into quad mechs because there's a lot of interesting, fun, lulls, tactica stuff with quads on a side note. But I'm going to turn it over to you guys. I think I would try to mount, if I have full tonnage for a light mech, how many autocannon 2s can I mount on there? And can I balance out enough ammo that literally I'm just going to fire and blast off and see what happens from that perspective?